What's happening, guys? Welcome to episode 21 of B.O.B.B. Today we're going to talk about coronavirus, all of its possible flaws. Not possible flaws. It's just flawed, right? It's just flawed. We know we said we were going to talk about Waco next. We get into that when we get going here in the episode, but today we're talking about coronavirus. We're also talking about the major cases that are happening, pedophilia rings being broken up, and I'm just glad to be back, man. I'm freaking pumped to be back.
He's also been drinking, so...
Yep, we're trying to do the introduction sober. You're going to see a switch. Like, it's going to go from this to, like, when the episode starts, if you're watching on video, and it's going to be like, whoa, that's different. Anyways, point being, yeah, so I'm excited. Really quick, let's do introductions on the two people we're going to be having on upcoming soon, which is Corey Schillis. I'm going to be having him on Monday. Then Mike and I will get into that, whether he's there or not. That's explained in the upcoming episode. And we're going to be talking about Q. A lot of people need to look this up. Basically taking a pledge to uphold the U.S. Constitution and what it stands for, because it is being, do you feel it's being trampled on?
It's being attacked.
It's been attacked. Shredded at this point. So we're going to have him on. He has a little more information about this than I do myself at all. And he's going to come on and educate us. And then I also want to have on probably the next week, I think I said with her Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe Thursday, Jacqueline, to dig into the whole idea of vaccinations. Because guess what? With the coronavirus stuff, that could be a real possibility very soon. You could have to have that if you want to go to school, if you want to shop, and if you want to have your job, you better have your COVID-19 shot. And then we're going to possibly be going on Joe and Ben's show, too. They reached out to us recently. That's kind of separate from our show, I guess. But we're going to be going on there to let loose in America. We're going full America on there. I'll tell you that right now.
I'll pull out my 4th of July hat.
You should bring on the 4th of July hat. Again, guys, if you haven't checked out them, please check out their last episode. It's like 4 hours long. Their last episode is like 4 hours long. Well worth the listen, though. Well worth it. I don't think there's anything else to hit on. Sorry we're not covering Waco. We explained that in the episode as we get going. We're going to cover all that. Don't worry. We're coming back to it. Our show is taking a slight difference here on the pace of alien stuff versus political stuff, but that's where we're at, and we're excited to get going. Dude, that music, though. I missed our music. I missed our introduction. Did you miss it? The stringed music. Did you hear it? Did you? Anything you want to add? Or?
It's coming. Hey, you'll hear it.
Oh,
Probably
that's
it might
right.
already be started.
Wait, no. How does our show start? Do we do music or do we?
It's a little bit of music.
A little bit. It's been so long, man. It's been too long. I'm fired up, boy. I'm fired up. Anyways,
we're going a little over our time, so no, I have nothing that I need to
Socials, plug them.
They're going to be in the description.
Plug them in
Facebook,
there. Yeah.
Twitter. Twitter, I think, has been a little less active. Facebook was quite a bit inactive for a while.
Yeah.
But William's gotten a little more active on there as of late.
I think we start putting episodes back up. We'll get people back around on there.
Yeah. We're also possibly changing it from a group to a page. So if you guys have an opinion on that, let us know. Page gives us a few different options rather than a group. Yeah. But we'll see how it goes.
And we're going to be rolling out some Patreon stuff too soon, and T-shirts. We are actually finally getting some stuff in order that way. So if you guys want to support the show, it would mean a lot to us. Besides that, I would just love to see you have some of the stuff that we have for our sayings and just our show. It's free advertisement for us, and it would mean a ton, more than just the $10 or $15 it might cost for a T-shirt or whatever price we pick. That would mean a ton to us, just to know that you guys have a piece of that, and that you, I guess, are an extension of the Band of Bearded Brothers. So I guess without any more, what's the word I'm looking for here? What did Grandpa used to say? Rigamaloga? He had a weird word our Grandpa used to say. Rigamaloga, I think it was called. And without any more bullcrap, we're going to dig into this episode. So let's go. Roll the music. Welcome to episode 21 of B.O.B.B. We're back, finally. The CIA has not taken us out. Can we even say the other person that may or may not have taken us out? I don't know. Somebody took down his TikTok already, so we don't know if we can mention her name. Can we mention her name?
I don't know. They'll probably.
When is her court case, by the way? Oh, and as mentioned,
not long.
Yeah, as mentioned in the introduction, guys.
August 12th, I think.
It's been a while since we've done this. We're gonna be rusty. Please, as always, follow us on all of the social media sites. You can follow us on Facebook. That's where I'm mainly active. Probably overly active. Would you say I'm overly active on Facebook?
No, I wouldn't say overly active.
I'm a little bit overly active sometimes.
Also, real quick, I know we were supposed to be covering Waco in this episode. We had started that. We did shoot one episode for Waco, but we decided that episode was not very good. We were going to re-record it, and we got really lazy. I ended up going back to work. William ended up going back to work, and we just kind of, we lost our way, I guess. So we'll try to get better about actually putting some content up.
Yeah. Which I guess we can hit on that really quick. We might even have a few times where I maybe have a guest on. We're not losing us, I guess you could say, but there might be a few times where I'm putting up an episode with somebody and Mike is not there. That's not impossible. I don't know if you would put up any without me. You're welcome to, but I would probably make any episode that you have scheduled. So that might happen a little bit.
I might actually at some point, but I think we're going to probably cover most of what I might have to say that by myself, probably tonight. So,
yeah.
I imagine we'll go probably about an hour and a half, maybe. I don't know, depending on how much William has to say.
I do
William's
a lot.
Really, he's
watch me amp this up, like, guys, you get freaking ready, because it's coming, and I'm coming for you. And then it'll be like 2 seconds in, 5 minutes in, I'll be like, well, that was all I had to actually say about that. But to be clear, like he said, we're not losing necessarily the band of bearded brothers, but there may be, don't freak out if you have an episode where you're hearing it's just me or whatever. We'll always try to make sure it is both of us, but if for whatever reason we're delaying too long, my goal is personally, I don't know about you, and I think we've talked about this before, I would like to have one out every week, if possible. And especially with
that was the original goal. It just sometimes
life happens. But we fell so far behind. We fell behind at a time when everything hit the fan. If you think about it, you have some of this we may or may not deal with tonight. I didn't have any intentions of going into it, but you think about it. So 6 weeks ago, actually maybe more than 6 weeks ago that we did that. 7 weeks ago, we're getting close to basically the last time we put an episode out was just after the George Floyd incident, and a lot has happened in this time frame. Apparently in 2020, you go 1 week, son, and the world might have changed overnight.
And we went several.
So we have a lot to catch up on. So bear with us. Like you said, we did not forget about Waco. We're going to get into Waco, but we want to do it properly. I think the episode we actually did, I thought you were doing it, and I was already pretty drunk. And then we did the episode. You know, did you save that episode?
It is still on that computer.
If he saved it, okay,
but I can recover it.
Point being, if we start opening up some Patreon stuff that I want to get into, and we'll get into that in a future episode, maybe we'll save that as a deleted here's this episode where I drunkenly stumbled through what facts I knew. I feel like I did okay. I went an hour, I think, of just.
Yeah, but it wasn't the most insightful. Basically, we agreed that we were going to cover a portion of right before the whole incident of Waco started, and then we were going to cover what happened, and we were going to split it between 2 episodes. And I had done research for the incident, and I didn't have that much information on what happened actually before. And William was also under the influence that was what I was covering.
I know it was.
So it was a little bit iffy on the information maybe that we were providing. So that is why we decided to not upload that one. But we're
gonna come back. We're coming back. We'll come back. We will. Listen, we had a lot of. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Just the actual Waco incident. We'll probably come back to that.
We'll
discuss that. The actual episode that we recorded, I am not so certain. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I meant it's a bonus thing. We're gonna open up some stuff. Speaking on that, we're gonna have some $1
bloopers or bullcrap.
Bloopers for sure.
No way, you guys can realize how How professional we are.
Well, I think you could tell from right now. I mean, clearly, I've got a man bun going on. Did you guys see that? Did you? How is it, Micah? Is it?
It's terrible.
It's a terrible man bun. But I'm getting a haircut, and a lot of weird things are happening in this quarantine, this pandemic of the world, the shutdown of all humanity as we know it. So that is one of the main things I want to personally hit on tonight. Yeah. I don't know what plans you have.
I'm pretty pissed off about the current situation.
Yeah. So. How do we approach this? Because, okay, we're at six weeks out. So last time we talked, I think where we actually seriously addressed this, I think we took it somewhat serious, relatively serious, somewhere in there.
I think I had more of the mindset that you probably currently have about it.
Yeah. No, from the start. Yeah, from the start you have.
And we're going to... Not that I think you shouldn't take stuff serious, but I think taking everything at face value, maybe not the best idea sometimes. So that's where I was right from the get-go. Mm-hmm. And I've kind of really just kind of developed on that. I've been building
on my current thesis.
The other thing that I probably want to cover is all of the court cases that have been going on during COVID. Now, I haven't like researched into a lot of them, but I just kind of wanted to like bring them up. Maybe if you haven't heard about them, you can look into them, or at least give you some knowledge that they actually are happening. And COVID is, in my opinion, possibly there to kind of help cover some of that up. That's just my opinion. You can agree or disagree with me, but
you choose to agree or be wrong. Your choice is yours. I'm just kidding. The choice is yours.
I didn't say that.
I'm just kidding. Listen, to be serious though, guys, for a second about this. Let's do it this way tonight, guys. If you're listening to this and maybe you are of the same mind of us, maybe you're interested to hear what we're going to share, and you're like, all right, let's hear it. What are your thoughts? Because I have my own thoughts. Or perhaps you are very apprehensive of this. Maybe this is like the last episode. You're like, I'm going to give these guys one more shot. Let's just talk about it and think about it from. I want to state this from the beginning, if possible, and then we'll see how you feel about this. Can we talk about this in a non-political manner? Is that okay? Can we address it from that point of view? And then we'll bring politics back in.
Absolutely.
But let's address it as what it is. I want to, because I feel. Would you feel that politics have been overplayed into this a little bit along the way? There's the.
I think there's a divide purposefully put between parties, but
yeah, which is always going to be.
It definitely has a significant role. I don't. I think it is pretty significant because you have like.
Well, look how
you have a lot of misinformation that if you belong to certain parties, you're kind of not necessarily privy to, and you just see it as it's been debunked by
Snopes debunked it. Shut the system down. Or, shut it down.
Anything like that, and you might be more inclined to believe that you can actually trust websites like Snopes and PolitiFact and all these other websites. Yeah. I personally think they're all full of crap.
Which, in fact, you should be listening to two dudes not in the basement anymore. We're moving up in the world. We're upstairs, bro.
Yeah, we're second story right now.
Let's see. Roswell shirt on and a freedom fighter, I think.
It just is freedom.
Freedom!
Just freedom.
Because it's still America.
Freedom.
God's sake.
It's gonna
be way too loud in the recording.
It might be. Might have to tone that portion down. But I probably won't get to it, guys. Yeah. I'm really lazy about editing, so if I remember it, I will try. But
I feel like our editing's pretty decent for us not caring.
It's all right for me. I don't put that much effort. I don't listen through the whole episode.
Oh,
so
I totally do. I have.
There's definitely been times where I have overlooked certain things and it just made it through, and I actually posted it. And it wasn't supposed to be posted.
Yeah, we're totally missing like the back half of the episode. Yeah, it was like 45 minutes, and it's just like the next hour was gone.
The kids had come in, and I think that was supposed to have been taken out, and I didn't edit that until like a week later, so I forgot about it, and it is
what it is. Yeah, but I will say this in our defense, because we just set ourselves up as like, hey, we totally know what we're talking about.
We're great though, guys. You should listen to us more.
I will say this: we I trust you. I personally do this a lot, but I know that you do too, is that whatever's presented to us, we will read the story. I will not just read a headline and then run with that. I'm not just going to read the headline of whatever the thumbnail is and then be like, go tell everybody this story without actually reading it to understand what happened. I also like sharing that story to other people because sometimes they notice things that I didn't. For instance, today, one of the things I shared with Brittany, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on here, talking about, well, if you're in the state of Michigan, let's just jump right into it. Are you ready to jump into this?
Well, there's several states that are doing this.
Let's jump into it right now. Let's jump into our current state of where we're at, and then I want to take us back to where we at 6 weeks ago, approximately. Actually, the beginning of this pandemic, if you're listening audio version, that was massive quotation marks. And then we'll kind of circle back to where we're currently at, I guess. So starting where we're at right now is in the state of Michigan, starting tomorrow, because this is Sunday for those of you that are probably listening to this Monday now. So you're probably living it right now. In the state of Michigan, at least, and as Mike has stated, now there are several other states, have mandated that if you're going to be in public.
Starting Monday morning.
Tomorrow. 6 a.m.
No,
is it midnight?
It's at 12:01 a.m.
It's midnight. Happy New Year.
It might be just 12.
Yeah.
I don't know. At midnight.
It's at midnight, somewhere there.
It'll be a requirement. It'll be illegal for you to enter any indoor public space and some public outdoor spaces without a face mask. And I believe,
in fact, she's encouraging stores or businesses to turn you down.
I mean, it'll be illegal. So they will technically, according to the law, they'll have to turn you away if you're not wearing a face mask.
Yeah.
Now, from my understanding, you get a $500 fine and you can be charged with a misdemeanor for not wearing a face mask.
What would the misdemeanor be? What would it be? Disorderly conduct? Like, what would your...
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know either, right? I'm not trying to put you in a spot. Failure to comply with
with a dictator.
Something like that, right? You didn't listen to my laws.
Our governor's great.
Respect my authority. Anyways, this isn't just us that's going through this, okay? Now, here's what I would say about this. Now, that's the current state that we're in, and most likely with you listening to this episode, we are currently living in, perhaps even in your state. Now, let's step back for a second and let's just think about that and what that means, because when you first hear it, it might not sound that severe for you. So again, for our listeners and those that are listening, if you have a similar thought pattern as us, you might already have the feelings we have that we see a larger issue at hand here than this. And then if you are maybe a more relaxed, laid-back person, you might just feel that maybe this isn't that big of a deal and we should be complying. So let's dig into this. Initially, what did the CDC say, and what did a ton of the mainstream media put out about people wearing masks? What did they say in the very beginning? You remember?
I believe it was basically it said you shouldn't be purchasing masks, and that I think
we're
they said
taking
something
it
about
up from the medical people who need it.
Like handmade masks or something like that was fine, but like. Don't go and like with toilet paper and is toilet paper still an issue?
I was able to buy toilet paper for the first time like a week and a half ago. That was the first time I'd bought toilet paper since the pandemic began.
Jesus, how did you have that much toilet paper on hand?
We got lucky. My aunt had access to the big rolls, like that go to the that goes in factories, like the big toilet paper.
Also, that real crappy.
Yeah, they're real one ply. You can see your silhouette through it, kind of stuff. Thank God we didn't have to dip into that. We were able to get some before we had to dip. But that's the reserves. That's the last line of defense. One ply.
But it was kind of put as that. Like we didn't want to run out of masks for medical personnel and that kind of stuff. So they were saying basically that you shouldn't necessarily be. But you were also told that you needed to stay at home.
Correct. And that's my point to this whole thing is that we were basically told, hey, we don't know whether masks are good or bad on this. We do recommend them, but you guys shouldn't be wearing them and doing this because we need them for the first line of defense. Or the people who are genuinely sick need these, okay? Then we moved into the next phase, which was kind of like, hey, everybody should be wearing something. Wear anything, man, like a bandana, a shirt. For God's sake, okay, we've all seen the memes of people wearing ridiculous-looking masks, right?
Like friggin' paper bags, plastic
but I think
bags,
that's the one that threw me off.
Bags,
my wife and I legitimately saw a man and his lady, or to whatever they were, a man and a lady, walking down the street, and the man had a plastic bag on his head. Now, he did not have it tied off tight, but there were no holes, and he had this around his neck, like, I'm hoping, receiving oxygen through his neck area. What the French toast?
Hoping? I don't know. If you're stupid enough to put a plastic bag over your head, like nature works itself out. You know what I'm saying?
But the point being, that's the level we were at, right? We're at a point where we're like, guys, for God's sake, whatever it takes, take a baby's diaper, anything you got, stick it on your face.
A lot of people.
Okay, we had a lot of ridiculous things going on. And then they moved into the phase of where we're at now, which is, all right, is no longer you can wear whatever. It needs to be a mask. I don't even think they're accepting my
understanding is it just has to be something that covers your face. It has to cover your nose and your mouth.
But the preference is a real mask. But obviously the rule is you will be denied entry unless you are, to be clear, 5 and under, or have a underlying health issue that prohibits you from wearing a face mask.
That's true, but I still
just want to be fair. I'm just being fair.
Believe that the store is probably going to turn you away if you do not have a face mask, whether or not it's a health issue.
Remember, at one point in time, the stores were going to be required to provide face masks. Remember that? You don't remember that?
No.
Yeah.
When they store going to provide that many masks?
When they first put up the ruling saying you cannot enter our business unless you have a mask on. Since there was no legislation on this, it was kind of a business decision forced somewhat by the state legislation, I guess you could say. They also said you will need to provide the paper masks for them. Some places did this, but obviously they ran out very quickly. You cannot sustain business that way, right? And you're severely taking away from those that actually could be using them. If you're just giving them to everybody willy-nilly who walks into your store to go shopping. Like, come on. So anyways,
going through a lot of masks.
Yeah, no kidding. So then we move to where we're at now, currently, which I'm going to say something that might be controversial to your opinion, but I'm going to say it because this is how I feel about it. If they cared the way they're claiming they cared for our safety, and they truly care, because when they tell you every time they're doing this, we're doing this for you. It's for the good of you. We're doing what's best for you, buddy. If you really, really cared about this, you should have done this back in the beginning. When we were told stay home for 3 weeks to a month, right? I know this grinds my gears a little bit. Let me just finish out. That's when I was still on board. Remember you and I had the conversation back then? I said, hey, let's take it serious, right? We don't know what's going on. And everybody that we're reaching out to or trying to seems to be running with the story that it's going to be, God's sake, they were talking like, it was gonna be like 1 to 5 people were gonna die. Like it was getting ridiculous. The numbers they were giving.
People were talking like millions. Like
a
10% of the population of the United States. We're talking like 30 million people, 30 to 40 million people
within
in the United
6 weeks
States are gonna die.
Yeah, and you know what?
I mean, that's just ridiculous.
If it had been real, that'd have been awful.
Absolutely.
But that's the thing is, like, at the time we had a 2-week-old baby, and we said, let's take it serious, and most Americans did. Most people respected at least we stocked up, we tried to stay home, and we did that. But if you were going to mandate that we must wear a mask to be in public, if you really wanted to bend that curve, you should have put forth this executive order at this point in time to say, hey, mother truckers, stay home. If you're coming out, wear your mask. I probably would have been okay with that. I wore my mask. I've only just recently really started to be like, I'll give or take. If a place says I must wear it to come in, out of politeness for their whatever, I wear it in there. But I don't have to.
I feel differently.
Yeah, I know you do. But they have the right to refuse service now. Now they're being encouraged.
They always have.
Correct.
As a private business, they always have the right to
refuse
and
like
service.
I said, I'm not trying to be a dick to anybody. It's their business. If they don't want their employees exposed to it, and I understand it. You don't know me, and you got lots of foot traffic. So yeah, I would wear it if I was required to. And in Meijer and other places that I shop, or Aldi, not all those places mandated that you needed to wear it. And
well, no. I don't know about that, because when I was in Meijer's, they very clearly had signage that said
correct, but then people didn't wear it.
They're required to wear a mask. But yeah, I would say, I personally, where we live, I would say most people do not wear a mask.
For God's sake, the county you live in. Are you in Lenawee County?
Yeah.
Lenawee County. You guys can look that up. It's huge, so good luck. Point being, Lenawee County is huge. Granted, less population, let's be fair, right? Not as densely populated, more spread out, more rural. But, correct me if wrong, Mikey, you can look it up right now. I want to say last I knew there had only been 11 reported deaths or incidents. I think deaths in all of Lenawee County. Was it incidents or deaths?
So Lenawee County, we have less than 100,000 people that live.
Yeah, but like look up how many coronavirus cases or deaths you've had. I want to say it's like 11 that they've either had or have died. Now again,
and just for
to be
reference,
clear,
761 square miles.
Yeah, pretty big, right? And to be completely transparent and clear on this, I am not referring to the first 3 to 6 weeks we're talking about. Now, I am talking about when I start giving these numbers we're going to dig into tonight that I'm a little bit fired up about in some ways. I am talking about from the beginning of this pandemic, from the day you shut the system down, okay, to where we're at currently, which I want to say it was like the last weekend in March 28th or something like that. Anyways, last month of March, so basically all of April, May, June, July. Wait, March, April, May, June. Yeah, and then we're in July. We're at 4 months. When you add up all the numbers, basically, from when we started hearing about this, we're just shy of 4 months.
So we have 1,005 confirmed cases in Lenawee County and 15 deaths.
15 deaths. Okay, so it has gone up a little bit. At last I knew it was 11. So it was the deaths that I was thinking of.
But total in Michigan, mind you, there's, 9 million people, something like that, 9 million people in Michigan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dig in the numbers.
A total of 76,503 confirmed cases.
Now, in 4 months. Confirm that.
This is today.
Yep.
And 6,316 deaths.
Okay. Now let's dig into that for a second. I know we're kind of still talking about maths. We're not forgetting about that, but let's dig into these numbers a little bit. So 76,000 people have confirmed, been exposed, or now here's the part where I want to bring this up. I want to bring this up right now for you guys. Here's where I take an issue. I don't care, and you can take this however you want. Get pissed at me. I don't care. I don't really care about the confirmed amount of people that have had COVID. And I'll tell you why. Number one reason right here. Okay, first of all, let's just think about it logically. Let's just think about it let's just say logically. Let's just think about like two dudes just sitting here talking without even evidence. But like just think about it in a somewhat logical manner. Meaning, if Mike and I are exposed to anything, let's call it virus B. Okay, whatever virus B is. I'm just throwing it up. I don't know. A.
Start with A.
Z A. I don't. Okay, virus A. Okay, because maybe there's a virus A. I don't know. I don't know this stuff. But virus A. If Mike and I are exposed to virus said A, hypothetical. Let's keep that clear. We are exposed to this, but we don't contract it. But our body was confronted with it. Our antibodies. We would create antibodies to said virus A. Oh, excuse me. So said virus A that didn't actually affect us, but our body fought it off or built up an antibody to say, hey, in case this is ever an issue again, I'm going to face it. Now, continue to be very transparent and clear with you. I am not I think everybody knows, a doctorate or medical or anything like that. We're just talking here. But virus A would then be in our system. So if Mike and I took a test for said virus A, whether it has affected us or not, or whether we've had any issues with it, we're going to test positive for virus A. Because guess what?
I'm going to add that I'm not certain on that. I don't know that you would test positive for a virus that you've only come across.
Let me be clear on that. If your body has built antibodies to it, if you have been exposed to the point of your body, so not isn't just like, I passed somebody in passing. What I mean is your body actually got it. So you had the potential to develop the virus within you, but your body fought it off, okay? Then you would have these antibodies that would then say, Micah, because there's no way to test, like, do you just have antibodies or do you have it? Besides being extremely, like, close to death.
My thing on the whole, like, test thing is if you have to test whether or not you have it because you have no idea, it's really not that severe. Like,
yeah.
So there's certain diseases, right, that you just like, I mean, obviously you still got to confirm that you have it or whatever, but there's a lot of things that, like, whether you get tested or not, you're like, I'm pretty sure that this is what it is, right? You get a sniffle something like that. You got a headache when you wake up in the morning, whatever. I got a cold. You kind of know what you got. Maybe you want to go confirm that with a doctor, but you're pretty sure you know what you have.
Mm-hmm.
But the symptoms to COVID, I don't know if you know what those are.
Let's pull up the laundry list.
Well, no, really, the biggest ones are you fever, a cough, sniffles, and what sneezing or something like that.
Excuse me there.
Like it's like a freaking common freaking cold and I'm not comparing it to common cold, but like that's basically what it is in symptoms form. So you have tons of people that are probably like, oh my God, I got COVID, and really they have a freaking common cold.
Yeah.
And then, as William said, if what William said is true, and they actually have come across it, they've actually formed antibodies to it, then they go get tested, and they're going to test positive for it. It's going to increase. Like, it's just, there's so much crap. I also heard about a guy that bought 20 tests, took them out of the package, sent them in that way, so they were not contaminated. They did not actually have samples on them, and 16 out of 20 came back positive. I don't know.
No, maybe he's wrong. Let's be clear on that.
Maybe he's wrong. Maybe he's lying. But
yeah, that's not a link that we can share to. Well, maybe the video's still up. I don't know if it got taken down yet.
I have no idea.
Because we're in a day and age where this is freedom. We'll just take your videos down if they contradict our point of view.
I mean, don't get me wrong. And I've touched on this before. As far as private companies taking videos down, I think they do have a right to do that if a video contradicts what they believe in or whatever, but they need to be transparent about that. You can't. You need to tell people exactly why you took it down. If it just you took it down because you disagree with the agenda of the video or whatever, just tell people that. Don't be like, well, you hurt some. Like. Yeah.
Excuse me, you have violated the terms of service.
I just wish companies would be transparent about why they do the things that they do.
Yeah.
That's all that I would ask. It's your private company. You can do whatever you want with it. You can allow whoever you want, disallow whoever you want, but you need to be transparent about it and tell people why you're taking something down, and don't just come up with some BS answer. Well, for instance, I saw say on TikTok there was a gentleman that did a video.
Oh, that's an American. Oh, that's a threat to America.
It's security reasons. and I thought it was hilarious.
It is totally a threat to America.
Facebook, but at the same time, Facebook, Twitter, go down the list, Google, they all have like every stitch of information that you could possibly think of about you.
For God's
sake, I guarantee you they got their freaking social security number. Maybe not Facebook, but Google definitely has it.
Oh, dude, get this. The wife and I ordered the other night from Hungry Howie's. What up, though, for those that know about Hungry Howie's, those of you that don't, it's a pizza joint. But pretty big one out here in Michigan. Started here. Blah, blah, blah. Point being, put in my information just to order a pizza. It said, you need to agree to our terms of service, which allows us, basically laid out, said I need to have access to all your keystrokes. I need to know what you're doing. And guess what? Within seconds of me agreeing, because I wanted my pizza, and my inner fat boy was like, I want pizza, so I guess I gotta do it. But the point being, it popped up on my Facebook immediately. Now, you were able to go back in and disagree. But to place that order, you had to agree. You had to agree. They wouldn't place the order unless you agreed. Now, then you were able to email them, which I did, to say, I don't want to be part of this. I what do you call it? Like unsubscribe. Well, they called it subscribing. But really, it was the same thing like you're saying. It is funny how we pick and choose. Now, I'm not saying – I do think TikTok has some serious ties to said entities.
That's probably true. But I'm just saying, personally, my experience on TikTok has been there's a fudge ton of conservatives, people that support Trump, so on. So I would say patriots on TikTok. And I think that –
well, it's because it knows. It knows. Okay, because TikTok is good at matching people. I have found more people. I have found more people. I'm telling you. Listen, who can go live? Who can go live on TikTok? I'm just kidding. I can totally do it. You guys want to come check me out? Anyways, point being, you can go live on TikTok. Point being, because of talking with these people, I have met more people that were homeschooled, raised as pretty conservative Christians, and had the same thought patterns as me. Out of the rant, like from Hawaii to Wisconsin to parts of Arizona.
It's just because there's that many people that actually have common sense.
But I'm saying being homeschooled, and being Virgos. It would match our birthdays sometimes within the same day. All I'm saying is you found a group of people that think the same as you. It is, but I'm just saying, point being, it knows this because it can see your information, and we're getting off track here.
Either way, this video was taken down within a matter of a few hours, and the gentleman it was satire. It was a joke. And he was talking about the Clinton trials, and he was saying, well, before her trial on I think it's August 12th or something like that,
somewhere in there.
I need you all to know this, and then a rope comes over the thing and starts choking him, and it was a joke. That was the end of the video, but it was taken down. How does that violate anything on their
It's violence.
Maybe
violence.
Maybe that's what they're saying. Maybe it's violence, but there's so much crap on TikTok that I have personally seen that should violate terms of service. It's just that's the part that for me personally, you just need to be transparent about it. If you're going to take it down, just be transparent.
We've talked about that before, but getting back to our original point with the antibodies, point being, do you not, again, if you're a conservative person, and God bless your soul, somehow you made it this far because we've gone off the path of being super conservative here a little bit, but I think we've been pretty conservative. Point being, let's say if you're liberal, is that a better term? If you're liberal and you're giving us a chance to listen to us, which I don't really try to identify with any one political party or the other, because to me, I feel it's kind of a farce on both sides. That's just my feelings on it. And I feel, now Trump's his own little thing. That's a whole other thing. But if you're taking it before Trump and you're looking at just the Democrats and Republicans, it's a big joke to me. That's just my opinion. I feel it's a freaking joke that every 4 to 8 years we get together and we and we got our team and who's the favorite and blah, blah, blah. But it's all going to be the same bullcrap anyways, because the same people in power are pulling strings. But that's another topic for another time. Stay focused, Micah. Jeez. Okay. Point being, God's sake, I don't know where I went with that one, but the point being,
man, you haven't even cracked open. Oh no!
No! I've cracked open that beer. I've had some other ones before this too. You went too long. You waited too long to start with me today. Dang it! Okay. Point being, if you have these antibodies, then you're going to test positive, even if you're not affected. Now, the death toll is what I would take serious. So let's just, you and I, can we agree to either agree or agree to disagree that positive tests don't really mean much if you're not dying? No offense, but they don't think it matter
means much if you can. It's kind of like, say, what I don't remember what form of herpes it is that you get a cold sore. There are so many people that will get a cold sore, and it will never affect your life.
HSV1 or
I don't know exactly what it's called, but
point being, it's herpes, but it's a cold sore
or something. Oh no,
it's 77 or 78% of the world's population.
That's basically 3 out of 4. 75%
cool.
would be.
Yeah, numbers are hard.
Okay, so basically 3 out of 4 people have this, and technically it is a form of herpes. So it's like shingles. A lot of people have had shingles.
Yeah,
it's a form of herpes, yet it's not really that significant. It's not going to impact your life. So I don't care what you contract, as long as it's not actually impacting your life, killing you, whatever it is. So
but we're agreeing on this. Let's agree to agree that.
Let's agree to agree.
You're going to agree to agree. I'm just kidding. You can agree to disagree that you testing positive does not necessarily mean a death sentence.
I think 99% of the time you will survive it.
Yeah. But the point being this,
with the inflated numbers they're giving you.
Now we're going to get into that. Now I'm still going to hit on just the positive test. We're not even going to get to the death stuff yet. We're going to hit that. Trust you me. But I want to read you an article. This is important. This happened back in, I want to say it was April was the original? Yes. This was a little ways back. This was April 20th. But this was when the CDC knew that this was coming. And they were trying to roll out these, saving tests that were going to be important for us to know and contain, so we know where the spread's at and contain this, okay? Now, I am going to read you a little bit of it because I want it to be verbatim on what it's saying, and we will absolutely, as always, once again, check out our Facebook page, because when we post our episodes, you're going to be able to get them there before you can even get them sometimes on Spotify or our many other platforms that we release to. But we also post the links to our show, and a lot of times the, the links are in our show notes as well. So maybe you're not even on our Facebook, or you don't believe in Facebook, and that might be a good thing. You can just scroll down to
Probably a good thing.
Yeah, you can scroll down to the links in our show. If you keep scrolling down there beyond the description, we'll have links to what we're talking about. Now, Having said all that, just listen to this for a second. This is what happened. All right, CDC's failed coronavirus tests were tainted with coronavirus. Feds confirm. Feds meaning the FBI, okay? Now, I just want to read a little bit of this. It says, as the new coronavirus took root across America, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention sent states tainted lab test kits in early February that they themselves seeded with the virus. That were themselves seeded with the virus. Federal officials have confirmed.
That's a significant difference. Yeah. That's like
sorry, guys.
The virus.
Yeah, I might have cracked a few. All right. The contamination did not spread the virus to people. So to be clear on that, like we're just saying, the contamination did not spread the virus to people, but it made test results uninterpretable. And because testing is crucial for containment efforts, it lost the country invaluable time to get ahead of the advancing pandemic. All right, now I want to scroll down a little bit. Now, what are your thoughts on that? Talk for a second, because I want to scroll down to the next part. That happened right off the bat.
I think if you have a group that's supposed to be like disease control, and they send out a bunch of tests that are like tainted and are going to show positive no matter what, that should tell you exactly how much you can trust the individuals in that group. That's just my opinion.
Now let's see what the CDC had to say about this, because I mean they need answers, right? So the CDC has been vague about what went wrong with the test, initially only saying that a problem in the manufacturing of one of the reagents had led to the failure. Subsequent reporting suggested that the problem was with negative control. That is, a part of the test meant to be free of any trace of the coronavirus, as a critical reference for confirming that the test was working properly overall. Now, according to investigating results reported by the New York Times, well, thank God for the New York Times, because clearly we can rely on them. Now, I'm not trying to knock them, but I'm saying just take it with a grain of salt. Because
you should probably knock them.
Well, there's many links to this. This isn't just the New York Times that reported this. There are many sources abundantly. You type this in and you will find out about it. Federal officials confirmed that sloppy laboratory practice at 2 of the 3 CDC labs involved in the test creation led to contamination of the test and their uninterpretable results. Now, let's be clear about that. You and I have hit on this before. We briefly mentioned it, but we didn't pull up the paperwork on it, saying that 2 out of the 3 main, what do you call them when you're distributors for the test were tainted. So now, going back to what we said before, Mike and I we have faced virus A. We built up an antibody. We're probably going to test positive anyways. Now you have this going on. You have these guys that are already sending out tests that are not going to infect you. They're not infecting us with, COVID-19. They're not planting chips to the back of our throat when they test it. And, they
I'm
might
pretty sure it's like a thing you shove up your nose, right?
Well, dude, Ben and Joe. I'm still working through your episode, by the way, guys. Great stuff so far. But Joe had to actually go get tested because somebody that he works with, stepmother or something, had it. And so then everybody he worked with had to get it because they'd worked with him. So they tested him. So he's like, yeah, I for sure got a chip on the back of my throat now. But yeah, it goes I think through your nose all the way to the back of your throat or something. I don't know. Point being, can we at least agree to disagree that you would test positive if you have the antibodies? They're already saying that we had tests that didn't infect you, but they're going to come back as positives, right? They're going to come back as, we totally have these numbers. Yeah. All right. The next part that was written by New York Times, just titled Just Tragic. Shortly after the problems became apparent in early February, the Food and Drug Administration sent Timothy Stencil, chief of in vitro diagnostics and radiological health, to the CDC to investigate what was going wrong. According to the Times, he found a lack of coordination and inexperience in commercial manufacturing. Problems that led to the contamination included researchers coming and going from labs working on the test kits without changing their coats, and researchers sharing lab space to both assemble test components and handle samples containing the coronavirus. What the French toast is going on? I'm just saying, this is common sense stuff. Micah, you and I, let's just say, just 2 Joe Blows, and they were like, hey, new deadly virus. We need one of you to test these said tests if they have it, and one of you to build. Do you think Mike and I would be like, we're going to build these tests right here to test it?
Best buds. We can't be separated. Yeah. We got to be working with each other.
What was that movie where they were connected at the hip? That, God, what was that called? Remember it had, you know what I'm talking about? They were like, I think it was called Separated or Twins or something, but they were like connected at the hip and they couldn't be separated. Anyways, yeah, that's how we're working it. Like, all right, you stay on your side with a contaminated test, and I'm going to build the new test. Oh, my God. Okay, let me just finish up. There's a little bit left here. God state. Okay, the CDC said in a statement Saturday to the Times that the agency did not manufacture its tests consistent with its own protocol. So right there it tells you, yeah, we got, these rules are more like guidelines. They're not really... You know, when you're a pirate on the seas of coronavirus.
Yeah, I mean, like, I understand in a lot of jobs, the you know, like, the guy, they basically, like, the rules kind of are guidelines. A lot of people don't follow the rules exactly how they should, but that's other jobs. Yeah. You're the Center for Disease Control.
During a pandemic, a global pandemic.
Like, how in the world are you screwing that up? Like,
hey, God, trust the leadership. Trust it, guys. All right. God's sake. Okay. The CDC said in a statement Saturday at the Times that the agency did not right. I think I might have read that already. The CDC appeared reluctant. Oh, right here. I did. Sorry. Its own protocol. Though the CDC appeared reluctant to admit contamination was at the root of the problem, the Times noted that in a separate statement, the CDC seemed to acknowledge such a problem, saying the agency has since implemented enhanced quality control to address the issue and will be assessing
culture right now.
I was told. Listen. I do accents all the time. They have literally no reason for like whatever appropriate. I can't. Where did you just say
appropriation?
Appropriation. I literally have no. I just did a pirate voice. God's sake. Well, you know, there's like I'm sure there's some pirates on their trigger. Like, oh, you mateys.
That's not.
You be taking my cultural appropriation. It's I don't know what you want to call it. Point being,
pirates aren't the same pirates anymore.
I'm not
pirates. The old matey pirates don't exist anymore.
Yeah, listen. Maybe it's the man bun. I don't know. But the point being, I'm not trying to appropriate anybody.
We need to whack that thing off.
I know we do. Okay, so the point being, implemented enhanced quality control to address the issue and will be assessing the issue moving forward. After the CDC first sent its test kit to states in early February, it took the agency around a month to fix the problem. By then, the virus had invaded many communities, unimpeded. I'm so sorry. So it had invaded many communities unimpeded, and any chances that the U.S. had to contain the spread had virtually vanished. By mid-March, so now again, keep in mind, this was mid-March, so all this crap was already taking place. Many states had turned to mitigation efforts such as social distancing to try to blunt rather than prevent. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that means like weird. To just take a blunt blow rather than like a sharp sword.
The life-threatening healthcare overwhelming effects of COVID-19. The only last thing I want to put on here, which is what the guy had to say about this, which was the guy that was investigating them, Scott Becker. It was just tragic. Scott Becker, executive director of the Association of Public Health Laboratories. Now, he is like the overhead of the CDC, the guy that would be basically their boss or investigating them, told the Times, all that time when we were sitting there waiting, I really felt like here we are at the one of the most crucial junctions of public health history, and the biggest tool in our toolbox was missing. As of the morning of April 20th, the U.S. has confirmed more than 760,000 cases of COVID-19 and more than 40,700 deaths. The numbers are expected to be underestimates due to the slow and still limited amount of testing. So he literally agrees with what I've already said, which is the more we test, the more positives you're going to probably get, just because you are testing more. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're dying. It just means that, yes, you might have been exposed to this. So I just wanted to put that out there right from the start, that whether you agree with me or you don't agree with me, the CDC's numbers that we were all basing this off of in the beginning, when everybody was buying up all the toilet paper, when everybody was buying up everything under God's green earth, we were basing it off these numbers that were totally false, because we had two nincompoops working side by side, trading lab coats like, hey, Bill, hey, buddy, loan me your lab coat. And he's like,
I don't think it was just lab coats. It was the
gloves
and everything.
They're in the same table. Hey, make some room on this table here. I got some.
Oh, I spilled something.
God's sake.
Should we throw these tests out?
Nah, send them.
It'll be okay.
I don't remember.
I don't see anything on them.
I know we're being dramatic here, but the point being, these guys were not handling these numbers in as he said, one of the most crucial times in our country as a whole, and as a human race facing a real. What if this had been the real deal?
Like the Black Plague.
What if this had been?
We would all die.
Like, God's sake, they would have been sending out tests to like, well, whether you're infected or not, you are now, Sonny. So, like, God's sake.
No kidding.
Anyways, all right. So my point being to that, the numbers that are saying infected, in my personal opinion, uneducated as it may be, far as the fact that I'm not a medical profession, I'm not a biologist, I don't have any of the credentials to be speaking about this, but I'm being forthright about that, and I'm putting it right out there for you to address that I am just a average Joe, and I've done as much research on this as I humanly possibly can for myself to say the numbers are off, because you might have tested positive and not had any real issue. As a matter of fact, hospitals were having you deal with it at home, right? Unless you were, they're like, well, ride her out. Good luck, bud. Call us if something happens. Like, yeah, you got this, boys. So, I mean, obviously, I should tell you right there that, like, there was a doctor, too. I should have had this pulled up for this episode. It was on, I don't know if it was The View or what he was on, but the host asked the question. He had, like, a panel of, like, 4 people and a medical doctor being on there. And he goes, should the mainstream media stop reporting this as a pandemic? And the doctor was like, yes, they should. And this was back in, mid to, I think, the end of March. He goes, because the problem is, he goes, I'll never know if we're actually having one. He goes, I'm not seeing it, but I have to react as if we are having one, because he's like, I'm not seeing the information. I'm not getting the results of it, but it's all being reported around me. So I can't take the chance that maybe it's just I'm not hit yet. He was like, they need to stop reporting all this false information. The amount of retractions that the CDC has they put out themselves since the start of this. To be like, wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Do this, do that, don't do this. All right, here's the new rules, guys. Like, all we seem to care about is running with what is fearful, and what people care about, what will sell, as it were. And fear sells, because we care about what's fearful and dangerous to us. If they had said, yeah, don't wear masks, would we even be talking about it right now? Would there be anybody who'd be fired up like, for God's sake, the masks? Like, would we do any I mean, maybe, but the choice would be yours. That is the point that we're hitting on a little bit, too. We forgot to hit on that. The choice should be yours.
Here's the best part. The choice is still yours. You still live in America.
If you want a $500 fine, and
listen, in my opinion, just take it as a grain of salt. This is not legal advice. If you are a true American and you disagree with being forced to wear a mask, don't wear a mother trucking mask. I personally, obviously tomorrow this law takes effect, so probably every business in Michigan is going to tell you that you have to wear. Now, I have seen some signs where people are talking about, because there's HIPAA laws and that kind of stuff, where you can go with the whole, like, I've got a medical condition, and they can't technically ask you about it. So I guess you could skirt the rules.
Skirt, boy.
But personally, I think this is ridiculous. I think if people were actually in true danger, like this was like you catch this, you got a 25% chance of death. Then it's something you need to take seriously, like very seriously. But this is 99-point-something% survival rate. It's pretty ridiculous how many.
I don't actually think it's 99, but
it pretty much is, because they're counting all
right.
Those deaths.
We're gonna get into that. So pull up the Cook County one. Can you pull up the Cook County? I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. I'm so sorry. Can you pull up the Cook County?
Before it's law, my wife and I, if we came across an establishment, they say you got it, you have to wear a mask. Typically speaking, I'll take my business elsewhere. not that I don't disagree with their rights to have their environment, but I don't feel like it's not my responsibility to make sure everybody else is safe. Just my opinion. Maybe it's a crappy opinion. Maybe change it.
Well, let's be
it's
clear
not my
on that.
responsibility to make sure that you are safe.
Right. Let's be clear on that. It is if you're driving, right? We obey the laws within reason, right? It is not unlawful to tell someone, guess what? You can't do 75 miles an hour through this little village you live in. Okay? We get that. Okay? We'll abide by those laws because also that law is not necessarily, and it's kind of the same argument, but it's not exactly. Do you know which one I'm talking about? The Cook County Medical Health?
Or
are you looking up the total
County,
numbers?
Illinois.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Look up the video is what I'm saying. Of the Cook County medical advisor giving advice on why someone has died. So medical advisor. I'll see if it's the right video as soon as it pulls up. I'll recognize the video. But we're going to get into the death part. So let's establish that we already know right now. I want to say that something like 3.11 or 3.155 million Americans have been affected now. I think it's 3.15, somewhere in there. Million Americans have been infected. If you go on our page, if you go on B.O.B.B, you can also pull it up. It was the Cook County medical advisor video based on the first teen that died in Cook County.
The actual number for Americans infected is 3.29 million with 139,000 deaths.
Well, so break that. I mean,
or 137,000.
Here, I'll look up the video I'm talking about really quick. You go ahead and do that. So really quick then. Oops, dang it. About the trucker. Here, I'll look it up. So you give the total numbers, and then let's break out the math on that. Let's break out, going off the numbers we're given right now, let's break out the numbers. I want to say, because if it's 3.1, what was it?
It's 3.29.
3.29 million Americans that have been infected, and roughly 134,000 that have died.
Yep.
Okay, so how many total Americans, total population, have just been infected?
Well, I just figured.
Oh, you figured out the other number? Okay, what was the death rate?
Jesus, the death rate is 0.0416%. So 0.42%. So, relatively speaking, you have a greater than 95% chance based on the number that they have provided. You have 90% or 95% chance of survival. That's pretty. I mean, in my opinion, I think that's a pretty significant survival rate. Especially for what they're claiming as a pandemic, and they're shutting down the entire freaking world for. I think there's some other issues at play that they're trying to, it's an election year.
Sadly,
I need
it is
to
sad
say no more than that.
Well, we said we're going to try and leave politics out of it first. We're just doing numbers. We're just doing numbers at first.
Sure.
So,
So the population of the United States is what?
I think we're at 328 million, roughly.
328.2 million. So let's just go with 328 million. And it was 3.29.
Okay, I got the video right here. So go ahead and do this. Let's break out these numbers, and I'm gonna play something for you guys. I'm gonna kind of read off what she said. I'll also put the link to this. It's already been posted to our page. Back on May 3rd, I posted this.
It's a percent. It's 1% of the population.
1% of the population has died or infected?
Has been infected.
So 1% of the population has been infected. And
you don't even want to know
percentage.
How low the percentage is of people
no. We're going to do the numbers here. So 1%, okay. Let's just round it up. We're going to say at least 1%. Let's be honest. We can even say 2% because those that weren't even tested. Let's double our numbers. Let's just say 2% of the population has been infected. We're still at 98% unaffected, which could be, now I hear you yelling at me in your radio right now or your headsets. I hear you saying, well, that's because we took the measures. We took the social distancing. Agreed. Here you go.
The number on your death rate for this population goes. So the people that have died supposedly to COVID, I'll put it that way because I don't think that the accurate number is 0.000417%. So that's a very significantly low number.
Now, here's another thing. In the 4 months, is it not possible? Is it not let's get outlandish with it and say, is it not foreseeable that how many people have died? 134,000?
137.
That 137,000 people could have died in the last 4 months anyways? Period. Have we not noticed how all heart attacks, all strokes, all cancer patients, everyone that's dying is no longer dying of said, doing quotation marks, natural causes, meaning, a natural cause of a heart attack or a natural cause of a stroke or whatever their particular position is. Now, I want to play you something in a second here, and this was from May 5th. The Cook County medical advisor had this happen back when the first teenager in Cook County, Illinois passed away, which is very close to where my wife was born and raised. But Mike, it looks like he's looking up the numbers of probably average death rate per year.
For just car crashes. So it looks like the per capita for our state, Michigan, is 9.7%. Or I'm sorry, not percent, 9.7 per 100,000. So
roughly, let's just round it up, say 10% of all people are dying in a car crash. And
that's not 10%.
Oh, what was it, 9.7?
It's 9.7 per capita.
Oh, okay.
It's 9.7 people per 100,000 people.
Okay, and we have 9.3 or 8.3 or 8.7.
We have about, it looked like just about 10 million.
We have 10 million in Michigan? Really? I thought we had 8.7.
That's slightly lower than
Okay, so, just barely. Well, for easy math, we'll round her up to 10 million. So, meaning that so if 10 million, how many? I'm trying to remember. There's 100,000
about 100
in a million
per million
would die annually.
Yeah.
So per year, roughly
about 1,000 people.
1,000 people would die.
So I guess it's not as significant as I thought.
But we're not even talking about car crashes. I'm saying all death. That was just car crashes. I'm saying natural, just dying. Period. Because here's the thing that's interesting. I want to play this for you. Now, it might be really crappy to play it on here this way, so we will also, as always, it will be in the show notes. Scroll down to her, click on the link.
That's going to be on him if it's not there, because
I will send it to you.
I'm not usually good about adding stuff to...
I'm going to send it. Oh, yeah. I write the descriptions anyway, so yeah. That'll be on there. But I want to play this for you guys. Oh man, it's so quiet.
Yeah, it is pretty quiet. My phone might be a little louder.
Okay.
You send that?
Yeah, let me send it to Micah really quick. We're prepared here, guys.
Extremely prepared.
Let me send this to you. And it's only 1 minute long, very short, very sweet and easy for you to get through, so there should be no reason why you, for God's sake, can't sit still for a minute. God, people are so impatient anymore. You notice how you send them something. If it's a 5-minute video or something to watch, like, I ain't got time for that. Like, holy crap. No wonder you've accepted everything that's been shoved down our throats if you can't take 5 minutes to watch something. Should be sent here, so let's have Micah play this.
Gallardo from ABC7 wants to know, earlier this week, the state reported the death of a teenager in Cook County. Are you familiar with this case? If so, is this the state's first teenage death? And can you tell us if the teenager in question had underlying conditions?
What the French toast? Oh my God, guys, hang on. I totally messed up.
William shouldn't take the phone away.
Yes, I will not touch anymore. My bad. Hang on. Here we go.
I don't have that information at my disposal at this time. I know we have had people of all age groups die. I just want to be clear in terms of the definition of people dying of COVID. So the case definition is very simplistic. It means at the time of death, it was a COVID positive diagnosis. So that means that if you were in hospice and had already been given, a few weeks to live, and then you also were found to have COVID, that would be counted as a COVID death. It means that even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death. So everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that was the cause of the death, but they had COVID at the time of death. I hope that's helpful.
I hope that's helpful.
Clearly, the numbers are not tainted. Clearly.
God's sake. All right, now let's dig into the death toll, shall we? Now, again, I know I'm getting really getting too dramatic over here. But I said
we need to wrap it up in about 25 minutes.
We got 25 minutes. Here we go. Let's do this. Okay, so the point being, we're talking about the death toll, 134,000. She flat out
137.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It is trickling up. It is trickling up. My bad. I don't keep up with it. I check in like every couple of weeks or so. But anyways, she flat out said in that video, what is your take on that? You as a listener, just listen to that. She just said, I want to be clear. Even if you died of a clear alternate reason. What'd you say? Reason? Okay, the words are hard. I was like, case? I don't know. They were still going to mark it as COVID-19. Because YOLO.
Because you tested positive for it.
Yeah.
But, mind you, we had tainted tests. So...
Even if you didn't die, you're still going to test positive, son. Tell you right now.
Basically, you may have tested positive for COVID, but you might not actually have COVID, and you die. You still count as a COVID death. Doesn't matter if you die in a car accident. They're still going to count it as a COVID death because you tested positive for COVID. Think about the logic.
America. Well, that's probably going to lead to COVID right there.
American right there as you can get.
Well, it's strawberry
just
pineapple.
Crack it up at it. Anyway, just my opinion.
Well, let's think it. Oh, sorry, I'm cutting you off.
Consistently.
Back up. Listen, we don't normally do. Actually, this is the first time we've recorded a real episode together.
Yeah, I think we've
since
only
our
done
first
live
3
events. I think we've done live events like this, but
there's so much more
I think
energy.
we've only done 2 of those. So.
There's a lot of energy right now. Do you feel the energy? My nipples are hard. I'm just kidding. I was going to say have a broner. I wanted to slip it in there because I haven't gotten a broner in there in a while.
Well,
but
it's there now. So
yeah, I mean,
you're welcome.
I don't think I slipped it in either. I just shoved it in. Jesus. Okay, back to the death rate. God, we're trying to take.
We're
losing listeners for sure, dude. All right, but here's the deal. I know I'm being goofy. Mike is being realistic about all this, but here's the deal. I'm very serious about all this. You really should have started earlier the day before I started drinking on all this. But the point being, I do believe that COVID is a thing. Mike may or may not have that opinion. He might have a different opinion. I do truly believe that COVID-19 is a real disease. I do believe that people that have severe underlying health issues should fear this. And let me reword that. Should be cautious of this. I don't know that you should be living your life in fear, but you need to be cautious of this because, in my personal opinion, uneducated as it may be, if there are 328.2 million Americans in the United States, the chances are that over the past 4 months, 137,000 Americans who had underlying health issues could have died anyways. Or just, died of anything. And at this point, they just said, listen, if you die of a heart attack, well, buddy boy, we tested you, and you had the corona.
The only thing that I would say fair is obviously there's been more than 137,000 people that have died since COVID started. Obviously not like from COVID.
Didn't
or whatever,
George Floyd test positive for coronavirus? It just popped in my head, but I'm pretty sure. Maybe. I'm going to look it up. Sorry, keep talking.
I don't think
that's... I'm having random brain
Didn't George Floyd die like 3 years ago or something like that?
No!
I haven't actually fact-checked that.
Oh, man, you went there.
For sure.
Oh,
but
God.
I'm pretty sure that there was some documentation brought up that George Floyd actually died 3 years ago.
Anyways, rest of the episode.
Moving right along. I think that there's some significant.
Wait, I forgot what I was going to look up. What did I say I was going to look up?
George Floyd.
That's right. I'm back on track. All right.
You brought George Floyd up.
Sorry.
So, if you disagree with me on that, that's fine. No problem. Just take a look at some of the videos that people have kind of pointed out certain things that in the original video of the George Floyd incident, maybe you'll change your opinion. But be open-minded about it. Don't just be like, well, I know that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Really quick, guys. Like we're saying, even with what's going on with the coronavirus stuff, if we know these guys are supposed leaders and the people that are supposed to keep us safe have so mishandled it. Wow, the words are failing me right now. We're going to have to wrap this up fast. I'm not going to lie. Okay. If they have so carelessly handled this situation that was extremely important or could have been, then like he's saying, is it not possible that perhaps there's some other things at play here? But I just wanted to point out I was right for having that random thought pop in my head. George Floyd did test positive for coronavirus.
I do want to also mention the same medical examiner that examined George Floyd also examined Jeffrey Epstein and possibly a few other that have
we gotta do this quick.
Deaths.
We got 20 minutes left. We got to do it 20 minutes.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
So also
really quick, wrapping up the death thing.
Okay.
Then can you at least acknowledge, are we in agreement, I don't know about our listeners, that the death tolls are skewed? We already know that they said 40% of all death tolls are from old people. Now, we're not even hitting on the fact that this crap started in nursing homes in almost every state.
Yeah, you hit red over there.
I apologize. I yelled, guys. But let's talk about that for just a hair of a second. I'm on an elephant hairs on a rear end. What of it? Did I say that right? A hair on an elephant's rear end? Of a second to talk about the fact that this did start in nursing homes. The fact that the first case in Michigan, guess where they sent him to be treated? They were like, oh, you have corona? Well, I guess you best go to the lovely what was it? I forget the name of the nursing home, but like lovely lanes of old people. You're going to go live with them while you recover from coronavirus. So it spread there like crazy. You look up what happened in Washington. I think Washington was the first state really affected in the United States, Washington state itself. And where were most of the deaths in the beginning? All old people in a nursing home. There is something up with that. And it is continued. Crap, now I'm bringing in politics. But it's the fact of the matter that most of those states were democratically controlled and have been very vague.
Really brought up more
I did. I'm sorry, but it's true. They were democratically controlled. And they've been extremely vague about the fact of why all their cases started in nursing homes. Sorry, not sorry. If guys, and I truly believe.
Sorry in the first place.
Well, politeness, I guess. Point being, I really think there's something else at hand here, like Micah said. So we're gonna get to that. I can't think of anything else that I really want to hit on. Just the fact that. Of the 137,000, I'm just going to fairly take off, and I don't know whether you agree with this or not, but based on what you just heard that lady say in that video and the things that we brought up, I'm taking off 37,000 deaths. Let's just round it out at 100,000, and that's being nice. I'm going to say 100,000 people have died from this in the past 4 months. Of that 100,000, 40% of those being people who are elderly, meaning 64 to 65 and above, who have underlying health issues or have had, and I'm sorry, it was just elderly people. The next 20% was made up from those having underlying health issues, meaning we're rounding out at what, 40,000, 60,000, meaning that we're at 20 or 40,000 left of just natural people who might have been healthy or for whatever reason died of this. Now, 40,000 people over 4 months means 10,000 a month. 10,000 a month over 328 million. I don't know what that number is, but it's a blip on the radar. Again, listen, I want to be very clear about this. For those that have lost anyone, who knows someone you've lost, listen, my heart goes out to you. I'm not knocking that. We've said this from the start. There are people dying. I'm not trying to make fun of that. What I am trying to bring to people's attention, and what is brought to my attention in some ways, is that there is something else at hand here. There's another play going on. This is just all a giant, complete farce, in my opinion, in some ways. Let's get into the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, I guess, if that's kind of your next role that we want to move the court case stuff.
Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, it has to do with Jeffrey Epstein, but I mean, obviously he's dead, so I really don't care. What I do care is about
Jesus
worldwide sex ring, and if you haven't seen it, Jesus Christ, I can't speak over you.
Hang on 1 second. So sorry, I'm sorry. That just please say that again. It would hit hard. I saw it wrong on that one. Sorry, go ahead.
So if you haven't looked it up and whatnot, like there is the
one last
Weinstein.
Thing. Sorry, one last thing, Mike. I'm so sorry for this episode. I'm gonna listen back to this. If I listen back to him, be like, for God's sake, William, got this right. But one last thing I want to bring up really quickly, guys. We all know that the epicenter of all the deaths were New York City.
No, not China.
China. Anyways, I'm talking about within the USA, okay? It is interesting, and I'm not going to read the whole article, but it will be in the show notes as well, so you can look it up yourself. There was a 21 million hospital built for coronavirus victims in New York City closed without ever seeing a patient. I'm not even going to go into reading all this because I don't think I can read it right now. I'm going to be honest with you. But if you guys want, please check it out in the show notes. It shows how there were over $350 million spent in New York for these hospitals, these emergency hospitals, to take on the overflow of patients. Excuse me, some of these hospitals only seen 87 patients or 100 patients. 73% of these said patients, of those 183, didn't even have coronavirus. What the French toast, guys? How many people died in New York? I want to say it was like, of the 137,000 have died, I want to say something like 63,000 have died in New York. Is the numbers. I'm pretty sure if you look it up. I'll look it up really quick. I'll look it up. Well, I can't talk and look it up. I'm not going to lie. I can't do that right now.
So, during all of this COVID crap, if you haven't looked it up, he can't even type it. There's been some significant investigations into the Weinstein emails. This is like hundreds of thousands of emails, and they associate a lot of people that were in a lot of power, a lot of people that have been making laws, a lot of people that have and still are in positions where they affect your life if you live in the United States. So I think that's pretty significant. I think the amount of people that were named in these things is ridiculous. And now that's all associated with a worldwide, like, child sex trafficking, sacrificial, all sorts of bullcrap. Like,
we're going to continue on with Micah's thing because I want to hit on this too. But just really quick to wrap up, we're wrapping up the deaths and the numbers and totals. New York had 427,433 infected with 32,000 deaths of the 137,000. So literally, for a while, they were almost 100,000.
So they're saying only 177,000 have
recovered. So how do you have almost what out of those numbers? Yeah, 200 for.
Don't even try.
Yeah. Anyways, point being, numbers are hard. Point being, that's my point. Is like, how did you have all these hospitals that you opened up and you spent all this money on? If there were all these patients, for God's sake, why were you closing down your hospitals? And then some of them reporting, we never even seen a patient. And guess what? Let's get back to the real quick. I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna hit it. Quit it. Thank you, wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. I think that's the saying, right? Is it wham, bam?
Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am.
Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. Here's the thing. Some of those hospitals were getting up to, supposedly, and it has been proven, $1 million in funding for each positive COVID-19 case that they had to handle. So, is that not an issue? Are we not literally being like, come on, guys, come on, just say you did it, and we'll give you $1 million? I'm just saying. Again, I'm not trying, for most of you that are listening, or most of our listeners, I know that you guys are critical thinkers yourself, and I understand that you guys probably know all this stuff and more, but I just wanted you to know that we are aware of this, and it's upsetting as we as Americans, God-fearing men, just kidding, have to take this serious. Well, I am God-fearing. I fear God, and I read this flag behind us that we so proudly put up every episode, as Joe and Ben brought up one time on our show. We're like, are you guys patriotic? And we were like, well, let's take that, son. Listen, on a real note, very real note, this means a lot to me. And some people might just think it's just a flag and it's just what it is. Men and women and children and humans have died. So many people have died for this. For the freedoms that we so enjoy, but like take for granted,
yes,
and are quickly fading, quickly. So I just wanted to wrap the numbers and say that should mean something, and that there is too much incentive to falsify these numbers. And we're gonna get back to Weinstein cases, and there are a ton of cases.
Ton of people being indicted.
Did you see what's her name's been arrested? Maxine.
Yeah, she was arrested. She was also confirmed that she has COVID,
and she's on suicide watch.
She's gonna be dead within the week.
Dude, I swear,
it.
if she ends up dead before this case happens again, I guess I'm not gonna do much. But I'm not gonna do much. But I'm gonna be pissed. I was about to say I'm gonna go burn the place down, but that doesn't mean it. I don't know. I'm not an anarchist.
You're not gonna do that. Well, you can't, like, anyway.
That does zero things.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything.
But if you're in Quifa, they would totally support that. They'd be like, burn that sucker down.
Oh yeah, they did that with like the Border Patrol.
God's sake! Don't even get me started. That's a whole. We have many episodes ahead.
Yeah,
of us.
we could really
12 minutes to wrap up.
Politics.
Okay,
I can't believe you're being more political than I am right now.
Sorry, I'm feeling it right now.
So anyway,
strawberry
there's a lot
pineapple.
of people been named into that. There's a lot of people being indicted for it. If you haven't looked into it, it might be. It's kind of sickening. So go in knowing that it can be queasy. But
look up
do some
numbers
research into it. If you haven't heard about the whole Wayfair thing, that's
Mother Trucker.
Mother
Trucker.
I'm not going to say for sure 100% that is the case, but it is very.
It's not even.
I'm gonna say it's very damning.
It's totally child trafficking. It is child trafficking. It's human trafficking at bare minimum. It's human trafficking, and it's not even just Wayfair. Now Etsy's involved. Did you see the Etsy stuff?
Yeah.
Anybody who purchases from Etsy or Wayfair. And again, I will post this in the show links, or
I'm not going to say 100% that I know positively that that's what's going on. But like I said, it's if you look into it,
they're selling cabinets for $12,000. They're selling pillows for $20,000. They say passport not required for purchase. We will make it as easy as possible for your package to be delivered. Who the French toast says that bullcrap? You know what Amazon does? You get Prime, you get this day, you wait longer, we give you a credit, boom, it shows up when it shows up, sucker. We don't say, well, if you got a passport, and we'll make it easy as possible for these deliveries to be done for you. I'm laughing.
Very serious
note.
It is something worth looking into if you haven't. And just kind of going back to, because we're kind of mostly talking about COVID. I think COVID is possibly partially to cover up some of this stuff because it's pretty significant.
By the way, sorry to bring this back.
It's not really becoming. It's not gaining as much ground as it should be.
Sorry, guys. I'm showing Micah this. It says so. Dr. Fauci's, or what's his name? Fauci, the guy that's been like the head of all the stuff with the CDC and like, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. His wife is Maxwell's sister. So the lady who, so for people that don't know that, we should be explaining that too. That is the girlfriend or longtime business, quotation marks, partner of Jeffrey Epstein and his affairs. Sorry, continue on. Yeah. I just wanted to.
But I do think it's with the whole George Floyd thing, I think is partially also to kind of cover up things, just because I personally think it was staged. And you might be able to prove me wrong. That's fine.
Whoa, you're going Alex Jones on us? We got black helicopters.
I just do. I think it was a complete farce. I think it's. That's just my opinion. So I think,
as of right now, I'm sorry to interrupt you again, Mike. I'm going to listen back to this episode. I'm so pissed off at myself. It's not even going to be funny. But talking about the indictments, because someone had sent me this, when she was arrested back when Maxine. Crap, what's her name? Maxwell was arrested. There were 160 plus indictments. Each one can
160,000.
Sorry,
saying that wrong.
160,000 indictments. Each one can name multiples, and you can be named multiple times.
So it might not be 160,000 people.
No, but you can be named.
There were 160,000 indictments containing maybe multiple names. And obviously,
very famous actors too, across the board.
More than one.
Burn Hollywood. Sorry.
There's a lot of pedophilia in Hollywood.
It's so bad.
Most anybody that's been in Hollywood for a long time can tell you about it. Obviously, I don't know from personal experience, but I have seen a lot of people talking about basically pedophilia. They might not call it that. They might not.
It is. This is a sickness. There's a problem, man. There's a disease.
There's a lot of people that, in my opinion, should be lined up and shot.
Yeah, as I say, I probably shouldn't be talking all this while I'm feeling this way because we're not really
I don't
get into it.
I don't think they're not worth putting on death row or putting none of that. Just if you were found 100% guilty and you can absolutely prove, without shadow of a doubt, you were involved in this child sex trafficking,
human trafficking, period,
all that crap, just shoot them. Yeah. Get it over with.
Agreed.
That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you should go shoot anybody or anything like that. So don't take it that way.
Yeah.
I'm not inciting anything.
Go the court route. Listen, have them sell out others. When we've been proven, you are innocent in the state of,
absolutely. I still believe everybody's innocent until proven guilty. Obviously, the court system doesn't necessarily believe that, but
yeah. And there's so much we didn't even get to cover, but quickly we're gonna hit it because we have 6 minutes left. Look at me, Micah. Look at me wrapping things up. Are you proud of me? Obviously, our show is taking a little bit of a directional change. Not really, but I'm still very much so into UFOs, aliens, cryptids, and all that kind of stuff. But we are going to start hammering down on this stuff because, for God's sake, I think we need to draw a line in the sand. I know we only have 6 minutes to briefly hit on this, but I want to advertise to you. Actually, we'll just do that in the beginning, what we're going to talk about next week. So we'll hit that in our little introduction. So let me very quickly wrap this up, which we should have with the masks. How quickly, Micah, do you think we can go from it's just a mask, do your part, wear your mask, to it's just a vaccine, get your vaccine, oh, you didn't get your vaccine, your child cannot attend school here, you cannot shop here, oh, you don't have the vaccine, you cannot be employed here. How quickly could we go to that?
I think that's within the matter of weeks. Just my opinion. I don't think it's going to take very long to get to vaccines. I think it's going to take a little longer to get to, and I personally think that this will happen. I think they'll get to the point where they're going to require some type of verification. You're going to have to walk around with like a license or something.
Well, we do, right? We walk around with a driver's license.
Well, no, I mean like saying that you have been treated for COVID and you're not at risk.
You don't even have to. You know what?
Maybe a chip. They're gonna have something.
Well, yeah, let me be fair about this. Let me be clear. I am not one of the guys who think that if you get the vaccine that they're gonna plant a chip and they're gonna track you, because you know what, we're being tracked by everything right? Everything's already tracking us. What I could very clearly see happening is, first of all, let me just identify this: N1H1. Who remembers that? Swine flu, 2010, right? I believe somewhere right in there, maybe a little bit before 2008. Real pandemic there. Killed how many people did that kill? 600,000 worldwide?
No, I'm pretty sure it's more than that.
Was it more than that? Okay. Well, while he's looking this numbers up, the swine flu, we all remember that, killed a lot of people. That was a real legitimate issue. And guess what? We didn't take the steps that we're taking now to prevent that. Perhaps that would have saved more lives. But my point being, they came out with a supposed vaccine. The guy himself from the CDC, when he was on Joe Rogan's show, before all this crap hit the United States, said, you know what? Anything that they put out would just be a I always mess this word up. Placebo effect. Because we don't even have a freaking vaccine for N1H1. They don't have it. So anything you take would just be an imaginary thing that makes you feel better. Is that not an issue? Should we not worry about this? Now, what I could see versus a tracking chip is something they put into you. That's for the fun of it. Let's get all sci-fi on it for a minute. Some sort of chemical that when mixed with another chemical from, I don't know, fluoride in the water system, because we all need that. Have we ever talked about that, Micah? I don't think we have. Fluoride in the water. Look it up.
Haven't specifically, but it's an issue.
It's a freaking problem. Let's imagine something chemical they put in the food and water that when mixed with said chemical and said vaccine could have some sort of reaction to then really take the population out. And guess what? There are so many people walking arms open for this vaccine. I can't believe the amount of people that are saying, I can't wait for the vaccine. What the French toast? For what? We're talking about something that's killed less than, what are we saying? What was the number? 0.00047 something? What is that number? Is that less than 1% of 1% at this point?
I can't find any specific numbers, but it...
What? All right, you start talking. You start talking, and I'll look it up.
Anyway, like William said, I think there's a line in the sand
with
how far people need to be willing to allow your freedoms to be infringed, just for safety. As Benjamin Franklin put it, anybody that's willing to sacrifice their freedom for a little bit of temporary safety doesn't deserve, he said liberty, but he doesn't deserve liberty or safety. And I wholeheartedly believe that. You can't live in America, claim to be an American, and believe that just because they tell you that it's for your safety, that you should believe that and just take it as a grain of salt, and just wrong terminology, that you should just take it as face value and sacrifice all of your rights.
I'm gonna have you read this
in safety.
I'm gonna have you read those numbers in just a second, but I want to finish this up real quick this way, saying this. I had a great person send me a video, which I thank you very much, Alex. You sent me this video. It's posted on our page right now. You can go look it up. I don't have it in the show notes, but if you go on our Facebook page, which is where we do most of our interaction, you'll be able to look it up. Which basically said that if you live in a neighborhood and someone said, "Hey, did you hear about that black bear that's running around town killing people?" or "It's just running around town. It's dangerous." And then you meet a second neighbor. Now, the first neighbor didn't present any evidence, no picture, no, here's a picture of it, or, yeah, somebody shot it, anything like that. You just, "Hey, did you hear about that bear?" Second neighbor you meet says the same thing. "Hey, did you hear about that black bear that's running around town? He's dangerous." And then this goes on, so and so and so, till you get 10 people saying it. Now, you might do some things that take it serious. You might make sure if you have a weapon in the house, you keep it by you and it's loaded. And you might not go out on your morning jog or something. But the point is, you're operating off of fear, off of something you technically have no actual evidence for. But because it's so fearful and could kill you, you are operating the way you are. Then you get talking to these 10 people and you realize, you know what? None of them actually ever seen it. All their information came back from one person. Let's call him Chuck. Chuck is the one who's seen this. You go to talk to Chuck, the source, the one person who's seen it. And he says, yes, well, the deal was I was kind of drunk and I seen something in the woods and it was moving and it kind of looked like a bear to me. Chuck just said to somebody, it looked like a bear. But by the time it got back around to you, it's 10 people who are all saying this, even though the first source says this was false. The entire town believes it. The entire town is operating as if there's a wild bear running around town. Do we see the issue that's happened here? Through mainstream media, all sources just about ran this as we are all going to freaking die. Now, Micah, real quick here, has the numbers on the swine flu from just 2009 to 2010. What are the numbers?
January 2009 to the 10th of August 2010. Or I'm sorry, January 2009 to August.
So just over a year, right? A year and a month.
Just under a year.
Yeah.
So lab confirmed there was 491,382 cases. That's worldwide.
That's less than we have now, right?
Yeah, but the suspected number of cases was 700 million to 1.4 billion.
That's huge.
That is an estimation.
Yeah.
But it was entirely global. There was, or at least according to what they have to say, total deaths, lab confirmed deaths was only 18,449.
It's not bad.
But it does say reported that was by reported by WHO. Flu patients were generally not tested.
And the WHO is the World Organization of Health or something
like that. Yeah. But the range of the numbers that they believe actually died from it range from the CDC and the WHO. The estimates range from 151,700 to 575,400. So
that's huge.
Probably,
but it's bigger than a coronavirus right now, right?
I don't know.
The death toll?
I think according to the actual numbers of the coronavirus, I think more people maybe have died from that.
Right, but I'm saying the point being, we didn't shut down for that.
Absolutely true.
Which again, like I said, maybe we would have saved more lives doing it. But my point being, there is a fine line where we're going to draw the line in the sand. I had another great person who, again, I'm going to talk about this in the intro. People we're going to be having on very soon here. We're going to have a lot of guests on who have done a ton of amazing research themselves. And a lot of people say, oh, research, what'd you go on YouTube? No, yes, sometimes they use YouTube, but also they're actually reading things. When was the last time you read an article from start to finish? When was the last time you watched a video that was 30 minutes long or an hour and a half long? When was the last time you did some real research? So maybe before you knock them so quickly and just accept the 5 to 10 minute segment that your mainstream news media sold you on, you give these people a chance and just weigh it out. Be a true critical thinker. If you're listening to this show and if you've looked it up, right? What's our show called? Well, it's actually called Bob. But the show is about being a podcast for critical thinkers. People who weigh out the evidence, weigh out the information, and see what makes sense. And right now, the reaction in the actions that are now being required of us for said supposed boogeyman out there do not match up. I don't see I just don't see that we need to do what is being said to be done based on the numbers. I'm not seeing it. That's my personal opinion, and I think we're going to have to take a stand somewhere because we keep getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And guess what? Right now, you might be someone who's maybe more conservative, and it's not a push on you right now. I know we're getting ready to shut this down. I'm ready. I'm shutting it down. I'm winding down. But here's the thing. It's going to come a time when it knocks on your door, and a freedom of yours is going to be infringed upon, and we need to decide where we're going to make the stand.
It's going to be infringed on tomorrow.
Dude, it's getting to
tonight.
It's getting
in 4 hours. It is going to be infringed.
Dude, we're going to lose so many listeners over this one. But you know what? I don't care because I will speak the truth where it's at.
Yeah, if I'm losing a listener for speaking what's actually happening, I didn't need you anyway.
Yeah, these are the numbers. This is the facts. This is the thing is that we're trying our best to share this because people are not sharing it. So, real quickly though, did you see the results saying? Last two things I want to hit on very quickly. The couple that defended themselves in, was it Missouri? St. Louis?
I don't remember where it was.
We all know the couple we're talking about. The barbecue couple that came out with the guns and a lady, Carol Blaston, who had no gun safety. But her husband, I just seen, did not point a weapon at anybody. But their warrants for their arrest were put out today. So we're going to see how that unfolds. That'll be something we'll hit on. And quickly, moving on, Americans need to be prepared for the next 2 to 5 years of wearing masks and social distancing. Why? Oh, and also, real quickly, apparently your low cognitive ability, you are of low cognitive ability if you've not been able to maintain any social distancing.
We have low cognitive ability.
Dr. Chen Yan Chang, I don't remember his name. I don't remember. That sounded racist right there. Holy crap. But I can't say his name. I'm terrible at enunciating Chinese names, and I didn't hear anybody say it.
You don't even know it's Chinese. It could be Korean.
Oh, you're true. But
the
Z part is usually Chinese. But the point being, they only tested 150 people. I'm sorry, 850 people. You tested 850 people, and you're blanketing that as the United States?
Was it a survey or
of 850 people.
A survey doesn't give you jack
of 850 people. And it was not peer reviewed, and it was released in a science magazine as if it were.
Right,
okay,
all right,
we're winding down.
Alex Jones here needs to calm himself down.
One last thing, really quick.
We do need to have
we do need to go.
There is a point that you cannot cross before it is your civil duty to stand up.
Thank you. Okay. We're going to talk about this in the introduction. We're going to wrap that up because we've got to do an introduction really quick. Yeah, one person brought up, we're going to be having her on, as mentioned in the introduction, Jacqueline. I'm super excited to have you on. She is a big advocate of anti-vaxxer, and not in the sense of all vaccines are bad, but we're going to get into that when she comes on. And she talked about wearing masks, and she goes, all right, so the deal is we have to wear these masks, but for how long? Are we always going to have to wear these masks? Or anytime any new thing happens, are we going to have to wear the masks? And don't come at me with, well, China wears the mask. It's because their air pollution is so terrible.
Also, we're not China. We're America. We are the greatest country in the world. You can call me whatever you want for that, but we really are.
Yeah.
You're privileged if you live in the United States.
Well, the freaking lottery being born here.
And you should know that. You should respect that.
We should respect it, but we don't, because I'll be the first to admit, I was very lackadaisical? Is that the word? Lackadaisical on my freedoms and my civil duty as Micah. Wait, is it civil? Yeah.
Civil,
sometimes I say civic, and that's wrong. It's my civil duty.
I mean, civic would be.
Yeah, but it's my duty to know my rights, to uphold them, and for God's sake, make a better future for our children, as we all should want to do. And leave a better world for them than what we're living in. Because right now, I think we're at the brink. We're at a tipping point in history, and it's going to go one way or the other. And we're going to really dig into this in the next few episodes. We're going to hit on this. Mike, I hope you can make all the episodes that we hit on this stuff with. Corey's going to be our next one, as mentioned in the introduction. And we're going to get on something called Q. Have you seen much about the Q stuff?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Retaking a pledge to defend the U.S. Constitution of America and to uphold its freedoms. So we're going to dig into some of that stuff. We're going to get into that. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it goes. We haven't forgot about aliens. Well, Micah might have, but I have not. They're probably watching like, man, 2020 wild up in here. They're probably like, you know what? Maybe this, this Earth thing,
But seriously,
we got to go.
Cut it off.
Yeah, we got to go. All right, guys. As always.
It's good to be back.
Broners, right? Well, I mean, not added. Okay, you know what? Stay curious. Keep it weird. And for the love of God, please research it for yourself. Know why you believe what you believe. That's imperative. But as always, stay curious and keep it weird.